when it comes to the bigger production of food in cities, then exactly as you've spelled out really well, there's a major issue of availability of land, availability of resources to actually be able to manage it. And I think I always wonder how much that's going to change with technology, because I think we're going to see a lot more kind of smaller scale, like hydroponic, aquaponic kind of things. But then doing that, you lose the greening of the city in a sense, because with the community gardening like we have it at the moment, or urban agriculture, or whatever we want to call it, you have that kind of additional benefit of it greening and making the space more active. But as we go towards a more productive system and approach, whilst you may have maintained the community side, there is a risk that you start losing some of the like aesthetic and biodiversity side as it goes to more like industrial kind of processes. Not to say that either of those is a bad thing, because you need to have, again, it's about balance, you need to have both. But I think there's going to be some really interesting opportunities for sort of how they both sort of like marry up and work together in the range of different, I think we'll see more different types of urban agriculture like springing up quite rapidly.
I think so. I think one of the difficulty, and again, this is about a little bit, there's lots of promissory science and promissory technology. So the controlled environments kind of growing, which is essentially, you could put it in a container, shipping container, grow vegetables under ultraviolet light and controlled conditions, massively intensive on energy, which is sort of, so that limits who could use it. Now, that's not to say that there aren't some people who it would work for. So, if you live somewhere with a lot of hydropower, say like the north of Norway, and you're in need of fresh veg, well, this might be the answer for you.
Yeah.
So that's there's a slight horses for courses, and you see occasionally some architectural fantasies. I saw a multi-story chicken farm, specifically designed by the architect to be in an urban environment. Nobody wants to live next door to a multi-story chicken farm. It's just never going to get built. So, you can imagine...
Once they smell it, what?
Yeah, exactly. It's just, but it will look fantastic, but, it was never going to be built. So I think that important bit about greening the environment is something that needs to be thought through. And exactly like you're saying, what do we mean about feeding ourselves? Self-provisioning would be the kind of more technical term we might use, and sort of providing some of your food. So yeah, that could be from a window box, could be gathering apples in the autumn. It could be, how do we make the more food in an urban environment? So, for example, fruit trees can be the bane of many councils because they're messy. It encourages people to use the park in a way that maybe they're not so comfortable with. But again, so let's think about how we could do that differently. How could we, so, back to your sort of student dorm kind of thing, I met a gardener at an old folks home. And so it's a horseshoe shaped, and the gardens were in the middle. He was a professional gardener. Most of the people in the old folks home were not able physically to do very much gardening, but they could watch him, and then they could come and do what they could do. And then so they felt that they had a hand in it. Some of that produce then went into the home. And again, because this sort of was on the boundaries of therapy, wellness, all of those things, it worked really well.
Yeah.
So, maybe it's about thinking, it's not just an investment in the land and the idea, it's an investment in the people. So if those students knew that, Sue the gardener was going to be there 12 months of the year growing their vegetables that went into the university canteen, and they could go and help, they could be part of that, maybe that would be a solution, rather than, there's some empty plots that will quickly be abandoned. And when it comes to, fruition, you won't be there.